Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege and pleasure to have you here for the fireside chat, in which we'll be discussing about how hyper systems or hyper computing and hyper connectivity and hyper automation can be harnessed by the organizations in and around Qatar. Now, I should tell you that we are in a very exciting time. We are in the cusp of innovation. We are in the cusp of digital transformation. And it's a very exciting time for each and every one of us. Now, it's not because of the data that is currently being utilized and stored and analyzed based on the transactional data that we have. It's not because of the human inputted data, but it's because of the real-time data that we are getting from different type of sensors, machines, and also cyber physical systems. So it's all about data, but real-time data, and that's exactly what we are talking about here. And the innovation that's happening is not only in the process, in how you operate your company or your industry. The innovation is also happening how you maintain your systems, how you build your systems, how you commission large plants in Qatar, in and around Qatar, and also how you optimize the use of resources in Qatar in a very sustainable way. And that requires hypercomputing, hyper-automation, and hyper-connectivity. Now, there are a lot of technologies that is driving this. We have IoT and IIoT. IoT is definitely a household name now. IIoT, or industrial IoT, is creeping up in each and every manufacturing and oil and gas sector. And they are bringing in real-time data for analytics. We have cloud computing and 5G connectivity, which is addressing scalability of your storage and also the data analytics part, computing. We have 5G and other wireless technologies, which is redefining the way we collect data. We are forgetting now about the copper wires that we have been using all around the plant, or all in the manufacturing sector or in the IT sector. Everything is going wireless. It could be 5G, it could be any wireless protocol, Zigbee for that matter, even Bluetooth is playing a big role. We also have quantum computing in the horizon, which is redefining computing, which is also redefining how we secure the data. And we also have edge computing, that is to bring data near to the source, where operators can actually use the data, that real-time data that is coming from the field. Now, I should tell that my session will be a bit biased towards manufacturing and oil and gas, because I am more of an operational technology person rather than an IT person. But then we deal with data and real-time data. And I'm so happy and to introduce Engineer Mubaraq Muhammad, who is actually defining policies for Qatar, policies related to cloud computing, as well as policies related to IoT. Now, to begin with, I would like to ask Mubaraq questions related to policies, because we all know that technology is predictable. We all know that technology can work or technology can fail. But at the same time, we know that people can fail. Now, how can we make sure that people will not fail so that they can use hyper technologies of today? Now, the only way out is to have policies and governance to lead the people to ensure that. So, now my first question for Mubaraq is that when we talk about hyper-connectivity and hyper-computing and hyper-automation, are we also considering a redefining of our business strategies?
Good afternoon all. Thank you for having me here. See, the technology was just behind the screen in earlier days. It was not directly connecting with the front end of the business and strategies. But nowadays, the situation is completely changed. The technology is the driving force of the business. So, and it's directly connecting with the strategies of the organizations. The strategy usually for preparing something for 5 years or 4 years and written in and print it out here, then people will make it tactics for that and stick on that and continue the works. It was the old story. But in the era of hypercomputing and hyperconnectivity or hyperautomation, it will not work at all. Because hyperconnectivity, it means connected everything together. It's like connecting with people, with systems, apps. It's like in a nervous systems of a business. So hyperconnectivity and hypercomputing. The hypercomputing is like the real brain, power of the brain, like with AI, cloud, and quantum computing all together. We can analyze the data, mountains of data within a seconds. And hyper-automation try to eliminate the bottlenecks by streamlining all the process instead of a specific task. So all together, this is all making, as you said, it's more alive. It's not like something connected with the strategies which is already defined and hope for the best. Before it was like that. We are just defining something and we hope for the best and working for that. Yeah. But nowadays, it is like very real. So I would say, I can say some examples. See, the retail industries, before the retail industries tried to predict the demand for a quarterly or half-yearly, for the 6 months, then they will predict the price and the inventories. But now they have an opportunity to get the real-time data and they can adjust the price and inventories accordingly. Yeah. I think all of us traveled recently because the summer vacation. Even I just came back from the vacation. So the summer vacation, during that June mid and July mid, usually the problem is that airlines price is very high. The last years, 2 years back and all, I felt like it was the sort of tickets sold out, then the price became high, then again it went up, again it went up. This is the way of increasing the price. So already they knows that the particular month it is the high season, so they will increase the price according to selling the tickets. But this year, what I felt that this price was fluctuating. Then June mid, the price was high. After some times, it went down and went up. It depends on. I believe it depends on the real-time data. So once the data and they are getting it, so immediately they can adjust the price according to the demand and selling the tickets. So thing is that strategy is not for just put it in the boardroom, but it's for implement it or execute it in the real-time dashboards.
Yeah, with real-time data.
Yeah, with the real-time data.
Yeah, I think the takeaway is that strategy is not for the boardroom, but it's an ever-changing strategy based on real-time data. You remind me of my days in Qatar Energy LNG, where we used to analyze the spot cargo prices on a daily, hourly basis to give feeds to the marketing departments to hold a shipment or not to hold a shipment. It's something which we used to do 10, 15 years back. But then I believe now we have much more real-time data coming from different regions and different worlds. So definitely the business strategy is definitely being reshaped or redefined for sure. Thank you very much. Now, when you say the business strategies are reshaped, is it purely based on technology, or are we talking about an organizational or a cultural shift to achieve the reshaping of a business strategy or the way we do business?
Well, it's the great questions because the technology is just half of the story. The remaining part is the mindset of the people, right, who is working on the technologies. See, I believe there are three big changes is required for the era of this digital transformation for all organizations. Number one, shift from the traditional hierarchical systems to agility. So hierarchy to agility. Because hierarchical, that's normal traditional organizations, it's all work with the hierarchy. So getting then approvals, getting the permissions, it will take very slow and it will take a long time. But the hyper powers needs to work fast because they are in agile mode. They want to get, that DevOps, how it works, how the sprint, how it works. So the organization wants to give some authority to the people to take the action fast and move forward. So before it was like authority, the restricting everything and controlling it, and it will take getting the approvals and permissions and delaying the things. So the second thing, the changes is required is that the job fear is there. It wants to convert to job augmentation. Job fear means people are thinking like artificial intelligence going to replace their jobs. So they are reluctant. They don't want to change. They don't want to make any automation on the organizations because if they are replacing it, then it's difficult for them. So the reality is that AI is not going to replace anyone. I mean, it's replacing only the repetitive works. But the jobs are not replacing. Actually, it's displacing, I believe. So the thing is that people want to upgrade themselves. They want to learn. They want to unlearn, relearn. They want to unskill, reskill, and upskill. Then the continuous learning is the key of this era. The people wants to do that. The organization wants to provide the training for the people. Then people wants to ready to learn. Then for the new technologies, because there are a lot of areas like critical thinking area, complex problem solving areas, emotional areas, emotional intelligence, this kind of skills which is required, that is not going to be replaced by any of the automations, right? So people can focus on that area. So means that the skills of the World Economic Forum, every year they are publishing that most important skills for the world, right? So before 5 years, if you look at the list, you cannot see the continuous learning or learning skill is part of that top 10. But the last 2-3 years, you can see that the learning skill is getting up and up. Now it is, I think, 3 or 4. So these people has to understand this. The organization has to understand that. So give more trainings, more priority for learnings, and learn new things and move forward. The third thing, the big changes is required for the organizations to embrace these hyperpowers is that risk avoidance to experimentation. Usually organizations have a risk appetite. There is a threshold. Then they are not allowing to do some experimentation because of this appetite. But we need to embrace some startup culture for the organizations. I'm not saying that everything will be open. There should be the controls, there should be the governance, everything in place. But still, organization wants to think about it. So give opportunity to do some experiments. Then let them do some quick failures. Learn from that. Then once fix it, then they can continue with that. They can scale up that. This is the culture we need to bring it. So the point is that the first organization wants to move from hierarchy to agility, then job fear to collaboration, then risk avoidance to experimentation. So real transformation is not happening from the server rooms. It's from the mindset of the people.
Yeah. Well said, absolutely. The real transformation is actually top-driven. It never happens from the IT department, for sure. Technology is one driver, but then people are the main drivers for it, and of course the managers. So everyone, all the participants who are in the upper management, for sure, you are the ones who drive it, for sure. I mean, we have to empower the employees so that they can experiment, they can come up with new ideas, and they can make use of the excellent tools that we have. I just wanted to mention one example here. Probably we all knew about it. It happened last week. Probably when you went to the medical store and bought some medicines, you might have found out that around 4,000 medicines, the price have dropped by 60%. I'm pretty sure this has happened through some beautiful, very good brains who did some analytics. Analytics not in terms of pricing, but in terms of what would be the impact of reducing the prices of critical medicines in Qatar, impact in the health sector, impact for the social impact of reducing the prices. So all these things are related to using hyper power to empower your decision making, to empower your employees. Well said. Thank you very much. Now, you mentioned about agility. For the last 10, 20 years in my working career, we always used to talk about efficiency, how to drive efficiency, how to do things in a most efficient, perfect way. Do you think there is a change in that concept now? Because you specifically talked about agility, which probably is redefining the way we define efficiency.
See, mostly people are thinking the hyper powers only increasing the efficiency of the organizations. But that is not true. The efficiency, of course, it's matter of the speed, the faster than cheaper. That will definitely come. But efficiency is just an appetizer. I believe the real meal is the future benefit. If you embrace this, the power, the hyper powers like hypercomputing, hyperconnectivity, and hyperautomation, it will help to do three things. Like one is that sustainability, another one is the resilience, and third one is new business models. The resilience is very important because business sometimes, bounce back immediately. Sometimes we faced it once. It was the global, the recession was there, right? So that is important. The second one is sustainability, because the globally people talk about sustainability, the climate change, then United Nations SDG, the Sustainable Development Goal, then all the countries and all the organizations need to be follow that, right? So for the sustainability, for the smarter usage of the energy, and the systems can easily follow the regulations and the climate policies. Another one, as I said, that new business models. So it creates new business models like subscription model, AI as a service, mobility as a service. See, so as an example, if you take it as an example of automobile industry, the hyperconnectivity helps to use the sensors of the IoTs connected in the car. The car makers connect the sensors and IoT fixed in the car. Then once the car went out from the factory, they are connected. So using the hypercomputing, they can predict the failure in advance, right? Then hyperautomation definitely will alert, send the notifications, or trigger it and update the things and fix it all. So this all happens because of this hyper powers capacity, right? So I believe it's not only the efficiency. Efficiency is, yes, efficiency definitely will increase, but it's more about the future values like resilience, sustainability, and the new business models. So I can say the efficiency is that short-time goal, or that the resilience and the things are like long-term,
Exactly.
the benefit. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well said. Sustainability is a key. I mean, it's one of the hot topics in Qatar, definitely, for sure, because our economy is centered around gas and oil and gas. So, and it's not forever. We all know that. I mean, there is a factor which we need to ensure that there is enough for the future. So definitely hypercomputing and hyper connectivity as well as hyper automation is going to drive much more long-term value in ensuring sustainability for Qatar. From a technology perspective, I really don't want to discuss technology today in this session, but from a technology perspective, which technologies do you think would amplify the hyperpowers?
Yeah, I believe this hyper-trios is already powerful.
Right.
So evolving technologies, the next wave of the technologies, like emerging technologies, may superpower this, all these powers. I believe, the AI, AI agents and generative AI
Yep.
definitely to help us to decide any critical decision it can take it. Then it helps to creative works. It helps us to directly interact with the customers, and they can serve the customer services. So this is one of the emerging technologies amplifying these powers. I think quantum computing, which is the buzzword nowadays, is happening. A lot of research are happening. So if it comes, I believe we can solve some, the problems similar like climate modeling, or
Yeah.
the drug inventions. That area, this computing power can definitely amplify. Then I think 6G, the 6G and 6G and edge computing.
Yep.
This all together, I believe, the power of the intelligence. So it can spread it everywhere,
Yep.
from smart city to self-driving cars. So it all comes. Digital twin,
Yep.
which help us to, digital twin is the beautiful technology which will help us to do the simulation. So organization can do any simulation before rolling out the projects. For example, imagine that one hospital can do the simulation before operating it. They can check the resources. They can check how the emergency dealings are happens, how the consultations is happening, how the diagnosis happens, or entire the operations before roll it out. Then they can fix any issues happens. They can identify any issues or any reworks is required. They can do that before implementing and coming to place. So that is that definitely will help for this industry.
Excellent. Very, very well said. Thank you very much. I mean, healthcare. I mean, definitely operations. I mean, but when you look at operations or healthcare industry, if you really want to do a digital twin of your human body or your alignment or ailment, then you are talking about transferring data from CT scans and PET scans and other X-rays, and then combining this data together and doing analytics with it. Definitely, that's where the supercomputers and the superpower, including connectivity and computing and automation, comes into play. And most of the hospitals are now gearing towards it, because the number of IoT sensors that goes into a human body is increasing. And we are very sure that probably in the next 5-10 years, the quantum computing will definitely give way to molecular computing, which will be the ultimate in interfacing humans with machines. So these are all happening in a way. Thank you very much. Now, from an organization perspective, if it's a new organization who is getting into this digital transformation journey, Do you have any advice for them? Because you're a policy man. You're a guy who builds policies to empower users to use the new technology.
Yeah.
So what's your advice for them?
I think any organizations, we cannot automate everything in a day. Don't try to automate entire the world within a day. Start with small thing. Start with a simple process and identify the failures. Check with that. Then fix it. Then scale it up.
Yeah.
Set up the, the foundation. It's like governance. Put it in place. Have to identify the cyber securities and all the security controls. Put it in the place. That is the hardwares and softwares. Everything will be clearly identifying and fix it. So that is the base. Set it out for the organization. Third one, as I said, that people. Then resource needs to be upgraded. They want to understand the technologies before coming to the big picture. So train them properly. Then whatever the current technologies or like ERP systems or EPM systems, whatever you have, try to integrate with this one instead of making it new one. So thing is that start with small and once success, then scale it up instead of jumping to the, all transformers.
Excellent. I mean, from a pure technology perspective, there are a lot of things to do. I mean, you can completely revamp your data center, for example. Just before I traveled here, I just walked out of a factory acceptance testing for one of the oil and gas customers who are upgrading their data center. So we basically removed around 35 physical servers and consolidated everything into a high-performance HCI, hyper-converged infrastructure for them, which basically saves them a lot of operational efforts, at the same time power, and it gives them a lot of computing scalability, processor scalability, memory scalability, storage scalability, everything. So that's a very low level of doing things, of hyper growth. But then the main idea of this session was to translate how we can translate the technology to the people, how we can convert hyper computing to a hyper generation, and that's exactly where the policies and governance comes into picture. And without policies and governance, adoption of technology will be just in the shelf. It will not be used. So it needs to be, the main driver here from this particular fireside chat is that, yes, technology is important, but then people empowerment is much more important than the technology. And it has to be top-driven, right?
Exactly.
Thank you very much. We have a couple of minutes for questions. Any questions, please do. Anything related to industrial computing or IT? No problem. Or from a policy level? Okay, that's it. So I think we are good. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
We have one question.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Yep.
Well, I'm working for an automation company in Qatar, and I understand that big datas and AI and all those things, data centers is the talk of the town. But my question here is, at the same time, as a human, we are all implementing sustainability, right? We are trying to save electricity one side, we are going with a green electricity, at the same time we are going for a water saving and all those stuff on the sustainability. But with an AI, the humongous use of electricity, the water for cooling, how is world, this kind of a challenge, how are we going to compensate that? How are we going to tackle this? Because what I personally, this is my personal thought, when this AI was not there, probably even the talk of sustainability was not there. People were consuming to the limit. But yesterday I was reading an article where they said that the consumption of electricity in a data center and the water in the data center is probably feeding the whole city of New York. So what is your thought process on that? I know the answer may not be accurate, but what is your thought process as a industry leader? Thank you.
I'll take it. Excellent question. Very interesting and excellent, thought-provoking. But the answer is very rosy, and it is good. Think in terms of before we had automobiles or cars on the road, we had less accidents, right? But that's always the case. Now, we know that AI is definitely using at least 15 to 20% extra power and energy, for sure. That is happening, especially when if you are browsing, if you are searching some information using ChatGPT or Cloud or whatever, you are definitely using a lot of power and energy. But at the same time, the sustainable energy is also another field which is seeing vast growth and innovation and development. So, for sure, going forward, over the next 5 years, we will be solving the energy crisis, which is currently driven because of the AI and analytics and data analytics. Anything more?
Exactly,
you need to
yeah.
add?
Then for reducing these energy services, I think a lot of data centers are keeping under the sea and for saving some electricity for the cooling purposes. So alternative options are there, and world is working on that. As he said that there is a sustainable energy is coming and alternative options for solving these issues.
And to add to your question, one more information: there is no turning back actually, because the issue is sustainability is one major part of it. One is sustainability. Second is reducing your cost of production, especially from a manufacturing perspective. So both of these requires real-time data. And for sure, that requires advanced modeling, advanced analytics, digital twins, visualization. Thank you. We can take any questions offline. I will be around. Anything to do with OT or industrial manufacturing, oil and gas, please do come forward. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, gentlemen, for such an engaging discussion. Would you please join us for a group photo session? I mean, both of you together. We would just want to capture certainly this moment. And yet again, thanks for sharing your insights and experiences here with us. Thank you very much.